Because what happens is you get in this groove and you're doing these mantras because you don't believe it.
Yeah.
You're doing these affirmations over and over again because you don't believe it. And a lot of people will give people this, hey, do the affirmation, go all day, go for 20 minutes, go for 30 minutes, go for 2 hours. You don't believe it. So if you don't believe it, it doesn't matter what signature you're putting out. It's Hi, guys. Welcome to the podcast. We've got a great one today. We're going to go through all the differentiators between mantras, incantations, affirmations, all the things that you use to create the magic that's layered deep within your DNA, words, symbols, numbers, letters. All this comes at a point where you are able to discern the difference between the two, understanding levels of consciousness, what you're telling yourself, and what the truth is. That validation is your truth, the only truth you need to be concerned with, and stay to the end and get a supercharge with just attuning your upper, middle, and lower dantian, realizing the energetics that are present in this field. This is a episode you don't want to miss if you want a greater understanding of how to acquire these skills using linguistics, using your attunement with the universe. Enjoy the video. Endless creating. Endless pulsating. The spirit of the valley never dies. She is called a hidden creator. Although she becomes the whole universe, her immaculate purity is never lost. Although she assumes countless forms, her identity remains intact. Whatever we see or don't see, whatever exists or doesn't exist, it's nothing but the creation of this supreme power. Tao is limitless, unborn, eternal. It can only be reached through the hidden creator. She is the very face of the Absolute, the gate to the source of all things eternal. Listen to her voice. Hear it echo through creation. Without fail, she reveals her presence. Without fail, she brings us to our own perfection. Welcome to the consciousness of the way. My divine delectable co-host, High Priestess Jade.
Woohoo!
Woohoo. The power, the source to all things, the mother of all things, the Tao. How that ripples through your very essence. That beautiful glimpse that we take from our scripture. That beautiful realization that everything is perfection. Everything is as one. And I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master Sun Quinn.
Welcome, friend.
Welcome, friend.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah.
It has been a while.
Feels good to get back into it.
And realize the power that you hold within you, understanding the rippling effects of words, numbers, symbols. They're all integrated deep within your DNA. That's why that most powerful incantation, a snippet, a glimpse from the magical register that most people would call the Tao Te Ching, is the very foundation and structure of any Taoist reality, is so profound. To hear it, and have no knowing or understanding of the Tao. Know that it resonates through the very essence, the pure essence of your being. At a soul level, that's so powerful.
Yeah, I mean, words are so powerful. People find inspiration from, daily quotes, philosophers, ancient texts, religious scripture, whatever resonates with them. It When you read it, you get a feeling and you get that transmission, and the words almost come into you and are a part of you. And that's where you go, wow, that's this is power, this is true source, this is that feeling that I have when I resonate with something that truly affects me.
Right. And that what better a topic of conversation, incantations, words, scripture, numbers, symbols, letters, the very foundational architecture for manifestation, magic, healing. And so people will use these constantly to create an outcome. So this is foundational, understanding all these inner workings, these mechanisms, like the way 126 is a visual audible experience creating the kinesthetic charge. That's all you need. It seems to be really popular right now. People are, mantras. They want to manifest words, affirmations, whatever it is. This is all good and well. It has to be validated by you. Again, we go over and over and over this. You want to manifest, you want to heal, you want to create magic. It all is validated by you. Your perception of your reality is the only thing you need to be concerned with. It doesn't matter about how someone else does it, or this is the structure of how they perceive their reality. It means nothing. All that matters is how you perceive your reality. Your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with. That's it, beginning and end. So when you validate that, and it's resonating at that frequency, and that's why the Wave 126 is so powerful, because the feeling is the evidence. The feeling is the confirmation. The feeling is that realization that is true to you, and that's the beginning and end. And know that if you're stepping into that and you're experiencing that, you're creating the brainwave. And so what people tend to do when it comes to these types of things is, it didn't happen in the first second. Well, you're still entertaining it. If you see a physical healing, which I can show you, it will happen instantaneously. And so manifestation works the same way. Magic works the same way. So if you're looking at injecting, $10 million into your bank account, be very clear. I have zero reason to not know that that is true. I have manifested my reality at will for decades, and it happens instantaneously. I can think something and it will become real, no matter what it is. And this is a deeper understanding of the magic, how that it is created, magic, the structure of it. So when you're leveling up, when you're acquiring the way 126 and you're doing these things, this is a validation. All the confirmation, everything that's coming to you as your truth is how you get to that peak. And once you do it once, twice, 3 times a lady, you will come to that realization. And, 10 times, 20 times, whatever it is. Remember, your personality is not dictating the reality. Let me repeat it one more time. Your personality is not dictating the reality, because once you get that hook in that feeling, it's yours, right? So your personality may, play around and fiddle with a few things that could possibly prolong the evidence. That's it. And that's of your own doing. You need to realize personality to the side, emotions to the side. Sit, stay, don't move. I'm in the frequency, baby. Mm-hmm. And you access it, you create those brainwaves, and you're the creator, you're the manifester, you're the healer right here, right now. And so I like to show people. We do this on the channel. We do this on a daily basis. All the people that are using the Way 126 are experiencing it constantly. And we need to go deeper on the fundamentals, understanding we release this new portal that activates your energetic body to a whole nother level. If you've done psilocybin, ayahuasca, LSD, DMT, any of these like perception altering externals, which is what people tend to use to add on to their secret source so that they can find enlightenment. No right, no wrong. Go ahead. Level up. But I want you to realize, having done this for decades in this life and many past lives for thousands of years, that you can do this from internally. And I'll show you. And so, the internal infinite Wuji body, also there's a Jin part there, but we'll just leave the internal infinite Wuji body, is a portal that opens that stuff up. And so if you've had a Kundalini experience, or if you used any of these sort of stimulants, you're going to have a new realization of what a level up is. And it's going to polarize all of that stuff. Understand that, know that to be true. So that will be available worldwide in the next couple of days. And you'll be able to purchase that. And this is a foundational thing. This is the Taoist rights, architecture of healing. If you want the inner workings, if you want to level up, you use in parallel the 126. You start with the infinite Wuji body, and then you're starting to validate these things, because the more and more you synergize with the frequencies, the more and more confirmation of your reality, validating it over and over again. Bam, it just happened. Bam, it just happened. Bam, that just happened. And so you tend to, it's quite popular, mantras, incantations. These are thousands of years old, okay? And so we have interpretations of different versions of that, and that's coming out, through, being exposed to social media, being exposed to information. Here's what you need to understand. Resonate with the information that means something to you, because honestly, there is so much stuff out there that your mind will explode.
Yeah.
And most people are information gatherers.
Mm-hmm.
They don't actually get anything that has a bump, has a hit, that actually materializes something to validate the truth. They just gather more information. Oh, I need it over here. And they define themselves as, I'm curious. I need to find something else. I got to do something else. First and foremost, your curiosity should lead you to want to validate. So the more and more you acquire this stuff, I'm telling you right now, you listen to any of our material, you listen to our stuff, you use our material, you use anything, you can level up instantaneously. There is no transitional period that has to take days, weeks, months, years. You want to refine it. That's why we've created all the tools. These are thousands of years old. They're backed by generation after generation after generation. That's why it has such a charge. You want to create that foundation so that you can settle in to that frequency and operate there in a 5D at will in this 3D. You want to do that. That's what the mastery, and that's why Taoism is second to none. Our energetic internal alchemy is second to none. That's why you acquire these skills. That's why we offer them to you. But understand this, you can acquire it like this, boom. It takes that long. And it's totally up to your perception. So, I hear all these people, it's like, well, I'm a channel, and I'm a psychic, and I'm a medium, and these are all sensory perceptions, people. Remember the baseline. Matter, Qi, Shen, Wuji, Tao, 5, right? And so once you enter the from physical 3D to now identifying with Qi, which is now the energetic body, you have now leveled up your level of consciousness. Your sensory perception is already at another heightened degree. So we've stepped past the 5 senses into a new realm. Then you are acquiring and aware of Shen, spirit, baby. Okay? That is your what you would like to call your soul, however you want to define it. I mean, there's so many rippling effects here. And this is where I see a lot of people get confused. It's like, show me. When I do group healings, when I do all this stuff, I show you. I'm not even doing anything. I'm sitting there and people are like, what? How is this possible? Why? How is all this energy coming through me? All this stuff is going on. I've yet on social media to do a specific group healing. When someone jumps into a room when I'm operating the room, you're just getting the side effects of just being high in the supply that's coming not from me, from Lasu, from the Tao, from the three pure ones. You are getting high on that stuff to a whole nother level. And that's just part of just being in the stratosphere that is our reality. I'm a catalyst and conduit. Jade is a catalyst and conduit. Don't get it twisted, baby. That's the reality. And so you start leveling up. You're here listening to us because it resonates with you. You're here listening to us because you have experienced something in a past life that has brought you to this point, and it is true to you. But, you know, all these categories, what they're all about is to confuse you.
Yeah.
Right? They're putting you into your head and making you all twisted about, well, I didn't get that right, I didn't do that. That's why we reiterate over and over again, even though all our stuff is backed by thousands of years of cultivation, practice, mastery, celestial, immortal immersion that has created the material that's so tangible. That's why it's so tangible. That's why me talking about it right now, you feel the energetics. That's all, right? And so you're experiencing that. But understand this. You've got all these glimpses of people. We regulate everything from excess to deficiency so that you have skills across the board, all the clair senses across the board, all the sensory perception across the board. Sensory perception is, in essence, all of those things. So once you acquire a deeper understanding of sensory perception and the energetic component, so it's palpable and tangible, and you know you're operating in that 5D, which is how we validate it through the Nigong and Qigong, quantum physics, epigenetics, 11 herbs and spices that are translated into the experience that is now imprinted within your soft technology that is your neurology. This is your tuning fork. And so you get all that, right? And you understand that your sensory perception limitation is you. Your sensory perception limitation is your imagination. That's it. Your validation, your truth is the only truth that you need to be concerned about. And so you get all these people, and I see it across the board throughout the internet. There's, you do this and you do that, and you got to do this, and you've got to do chanting and mantras and affirmations and over and over and over and over again, all these different things. Listen, once you validate this, know this to be true. And that's why it's always good to start with something as simple as the parking ferry, because that is a validation. And guess what? Your bigger manifestation, your bigger healing, your bigger architecture is no different than manifesting the parking ferry. That's the sequence. So you create a thought, feeling, and emotion. It generates a rippling effect within the blood and culture medium, which is the blood that gives the messenger from the pituitary, pineal, and thalamus that is evoking a response that is within that messenger. The blood activates a gene response, which ripples out into the field. Your consciousness. This is a tuning fork. That's all it is. So once that happens, it comes to an equal to or greater than experience and is realized. It's happening one way or another. Understand that. Know that to be true. It's coming to you. It'll happen. And it's kind of like waiting for a package, right? Mm-hmm. Now I kind of do this a lot, and I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of cheating. And so, I get a package and it says, oh, it'll be delivered on the 27th. And I'm like, I might dust a little magic on this one. And all of a sudden, poof, it turns up 2 days earlier than it should. But that's the power of the architecture, that once you refine your skills and you cast magic, you can get very, very detailed. But start validating it for yourself, first and foremost. That's why the way 126 is so powerful, you open up all the energy centers from 0 through to 108, which is the Taoist magical number. The power of 9 is the most powerful. And so we can go for infinite. But, you go through 2 years of that, and you're going to hit 108 energy centers and going to be levitating and doing a bunch of other things. But let's start with this. You level up level 1. You level up tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. You're already superhuman. And I'm constantly getting, testimonials from the very evidence of that, from, healing themselves, healing others, manifesting all the crazy things in their life. Is it uncommon for me to help someone create a life where they're working for minimum wage and, within a very short period of time, depending upon how they structure the inner workings of the things that we teach them, they can go from making, minimum wage at Smith's to be making thousands of dollars an hour, tens of thousands, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. I couldn't care less. You want $1 billion an hour? Let's give it to you. You just have to synchronize that frequency to have it realized. And so it's over and over and over. It's already happened. You will see it replicate, because what happens is you get in this groove and you're doing these mantras because you don't believe it.
Yeah.
You're doing these affirmations over and over again because you don't believe it. And a lot of people will give people this, hey, do the affirmation, go all day, go for 20 minutes, go for 30 minutes, go for 2 hours. You don't believe it. So if you don't believe it, it doesn't matter what signature you're putting out. It's kind of like just being a blowhard. And this is what I come across all the time over decades doing this. I get 2 people, both of them have cancer. Both of them tell me the same story. And I can see right down to the energetics. Anyone that knows me as the Sifu or just Taoist Master San Quinn or any of my material, you understand that I teach people psychic abilities, which is just another transmutation of sensory perception. But let's just say this. I do psychic readings on people all the time. I can give you a mental, emotional state like this. This is all just information. So, when someone starts to categorize it, if I'm saying that, it helps you understand what you're doing. But in reality, you just have an imagination and you can get any information you want. And the clear sense, the clear vision, the clear smell, the clear sound, all this stuff is just another level up, and it's limited by your imagination. In any case, you get these 2 people that have the same thing. I'm going to beat the cancer. The same thing, same cancer, everything. 6 months later, one person's there, the other person isn't. Why? Because they don't believe it. Now, that's how you validate it. That's why the feeling is so important. That's why your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with. And you get the validated support by being in a community like the Way 126, having Jade and myself confirm these things. And it comes in the neurology, the tuning fork that makes it real to you. But you keep going over and over and over again because you don't believe it. I've got to do the mantra. I've got to do the chant. I've got to do the affirmation. And guess what? There's mechanisms that are working that you clearly are having conflict with. Because when you're doing this stuff, if you feel it, it's yours, baby. And it'll happen once. That's it. And that's something that some people you work through. So the fastest way to get this validation is to start small, where there's little to no emotional content, and you can see it realized instantaneously. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference whether it's that or it's $1 million in your bank account. The same thing will take place. Understand this, know this to be true. You just haven't experienced it yet. But know that it's out there and it's completely possible. Anything is possible. Oh.
No, I mean, so much information, absolutely. And it comes back to the feeling, and it comes back to, if I know I'm a good person, or if I know I am something, I don't have to remind myself. I don't sit there every day and remind myself, hi, my name is Jade. Hi, my name is Jade. Hi, my name is Jade. It's like, No, I know my
You
name.
know what you know. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. And I know that my name is Jade, but I'm not sitting there confirming it every single day. I have that knowing. And there is a difference between knowing and thinking and being in your head and feeling. And it is very easy to get caught up in this, cycle of, oh, well, this person, it worked for them, so it'll work for me. And
Well, which
it's
is absolutely true.
right.
Listen, understand that neurology, like what Jade's saying, is absolutely true. You need to realize how quickly you can fall into that frequency.
But it is a frequency.
Right, right.
It isn't a thought process. It's a frequency, which is a feeling, which is a knowing, which is a understanding. And that you will validate that for yourself. Nobody else will validate that for you. You will validate that for yourself and start with that little seed and then grow it and then validate it more and then grow it with something else and validate it more and validate it more until it becomes that knowing where, you can do instant healing, instant magic, instant manifestation.
Right. 100%. And so that's where it begins and ends. So when they get all these subsections, I'm a psychic, I'm a medium, I'm a channel, I'm a this, I'm a that, there's a distinct difference. And, I was listening to one guy today, and he was talking about, well, this is what happens on the other side. Look, you'll be revealed to you what happens on the other side. I have foundational stuff that I work with that is tens of thousands of years old. That's why it has a charge. That's why it's validated with generation after generation after generation. Understand that, know that to be true. You can pick up the stuff just like this new Wuji, infinite Wuji body portal. You follow the instruction and you'll feel like Harry Potter. It's going on. It's happening. You're going to have the experience of a lifetime that polarizes anything you've had before. This is the truth. Now, that's because it's just been integrated over and over again. You are immersed on material that has been applied by millions of people before you. Mm-hmm. That's the charge, right? So
it's like you're in the frequency
right.
of tens of thousands of years of
right.
instant manifestation.
Right. And
imagine that frequency.
Right.
You know it's gonna.
Right.
It's gonna work.
Right. And so it's a realization. That's what it comes down to. So when people go and they get in the subsection and they're telling you this and that, you will validate it for yourself. When I teach someone something, if you notice, I don't lead you. If I'm pulling in an energy or I'm welcoming an energy, I'm welcoming it. And people are like, holy crap, Sifu, you welcome this energy and I could feel it surging through my whole body. This is like profound, a realization. Absolutely, because guess what? I'm not having to suggest or get you to believe it. Mm-hmm. I know it to be true. I don't have to validate it through or convince you that it's true. I know it's true. You're being convinced it's real because when I call on it, it becomes realized within your physical body as a tuning fork because you're already interconnected. If you're listening to me, you are in the frequency. If you are hearing anything, you are going to experience it instantaneously. And then people are like, holy crap, that's undeniable. I can't deny that. And so I'm just talking right now. I'm feeling the energy surging through me as he's speaking. That's right.
Yeah. It makes me think of, there was this like magician and they had like a crowd of people and they told one person, I think they covered their eyes or something. And they told one person like, okay, I'm invisible now. And they had the whole crowd, like, were actors. They were in on it. And they all acted like, oh my God, he's invisible. Or like, and then the person, because they were a part of the crowd, it was like they believed it, even though they either saw it. I can't remember the exact trick, but then he would come back and he was like, see, I was invisible. And she's like, how did you do that? But it was like this group of people. Mm-hmm. And because she was a part of this group and believed what this group kind of did, mm-hmm. it was this, you know what I mean? You pull into that. Mm-hmm. And I think I don't even know where I was going
I
with
have
that.
no idea what you're doing. You know, I'm impressed. I like it. She's a little high right now, but look, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's not even you understand. We've talked about the neurology component. So on a universal universe level, just the quantum aspect, your mirror neurons replicate everything that it's exposed to. Just on that, forget about your personality, forget about how you perceive things. You are going to be able to access it instantaneously because you have been exposed to it. Understand that, know that to be true. What the biggest issue is you are getting caught up in the 47 other different versions of whatever stuff is. Resonate with what it means to you. Know that you can access it instantaneously. We'll confirm that, affirm that, reaffirm that, validate that, support that through this channel, through our material, through our experiences. We'll do that over and over again. We just recently, and it'll probably come out today or tomorrow, we're going to start doing these hotspots here in Las Vegas every week. We're going to go out and we're going to go and explore places that my teachers are telling me to go to, and then those spirits and energies are calling on me to give the world an experience and a profile. These are hotspots. These are supercharged energetic plutonium dump sites of frequency, energy, vibration. And so we did
Okay.
the Luxor, and you will be blown. Just like when I talk about it, and you as an audience are going, holy crap, I'm feeling it right now. You are going to go to these places as a tourist, as a local, and even you can experience, like I said, you'll experience it through the video, the charge from these spaces. And I'm excited to go through and share all this stuff with people because it gets super powerful when you start to realize that you're immersed in it, right? And so there's hundreds of hotspots in Luxor, but we took the top three because they're super exciting to validate that. And there's some interesting information that we extracted from the spirits and the energies that are in those particular hotspots and what they're doing for the Luxor, and moreover, what's going to happen to the future of it. Forget about the realm of man's idea of what they think they're going to do with the Luxor. Yeah, they've got another thing coming because there's a huge community of spirits. It's almost like gangs, really. We've got like these Native Americans that are buried there, and then you have sort of like an import where you pulled in this energy. Remember, the construct is all it takes. You create a construct and you are calling in that frequency, energy, and vibration. So by putting together the foundations of the Luxor with specific statues and whatnot, the architecture, you're drawing those energies in, and they're imprinted in there. They're hanging out. So literally you have imports hopping on the train heading down to Vegas, and they're hanging out at the Luxor, and you've got these Native American spirits that have been there for a long time. And so it's like these two gangs, and these grids are sort of like creating parameters where they're not interacting with each other. They're sort of like a little standoffish. And so there's a lot of activity going on there. Now, this is all over Las Vegas. It's anywhere in the world, anywhere you want to go. But I'll tell you this, just as the Jade Emperor reminds you, let the man who's never left his village, let him know he's seen the world. This is straight from our scripture, very ancient, profound incantation. This is part of what happens when you go to the Luxor. If you've never traveled outside of America and you'd like to visit Egypt, no need to. If you can hit Vegas, if you can hit play, and you're watching our video, you're going to experience what it's absolutely like to be in Egypt. And if you can go down there physically, you will be able to experience it also. This is profound stuff, guys. And I can't wait for people to get on that train and get down there and enjoy the energy, frequency, and vibration of the Luxor. because it's
Yeah.
cool. But we're going to go, Vegas is endless. Everywhere is endless. I mean, you can find spirits and energies anywhere.
Right.
And so we're going to have fun till Daddy take a T-bird away. And we're going to go through all these spots. And strangely enough, one comes to my attention, which is specifically what they call the Haunted Mansion here in Las Vegas. And that would have the lowest bump of energy outside of anything in this whole space. It's almost nada. It's zero. It's goose eggs, and I find it interesting because there's this Hollywood fantasy around the haunted mansion and all the spooky stuff that was in there and all this stuff going on. I understand this, know this to be true as a Taoist priest, and I've been working with energy frequency vibration consciously in this lifetime for over 30 years, and I've done exorcisms hundreds of times. Know this: you bring this energy in. Your reality is operating in a duality, then you are going to generate these types of things that are going to dip in and out of what we call the ether, either side of 3D to 5D reality. And you'll bring this stuff in, and it is your perception of your reality. So, the Haunted Mansion is a zero. And we'll go there, and I'll explain it to you in great detail. But this idea, this Hollywood fantasy that it's got a treasure trove of energy and all these spirits in it, no. You might find a couple of what I can see as angels that are sort of occupying that space, but, lower vibrational demons and haunted and sorry, it's not even there. And we will help you. See, what we're going to do in the journey is every time we hit a spot, we're going to take, imprint a little magic into a set of incense, and we're going to lay that incense all over Vegas, and you'll be able to go to that spot and feel the frequency that we imprint into that very area, and it will blow your mind.
And I think that gets back to everything we were talking about today. It's about the feeling. It's not about the thinking or the idea of or the thought process. It's about the feeling.
Right.
It's about the frequency. It's about the vibration.
Right.
It's about what your tuning fork is pulling in and letting you experience. And that is the most important part. Right. That's the validator for anything.
That's always the baseline.
Always the baseline, right. Always the validator, always everything. It comes down to that feeling, which is the most important thing that we continue to reiterate over and over and over again. It's not in your head. It comes from here. It comes from your heart. It comes from the truth teller. It comes from that feeling.
Right. Amen to that.
Yeah.
And so as you level up with your sensory perception, this is what we like to call it, which can go all of the above: psychic, medium, channel, whatever you want to call it. As you level up, you will start to be clear. You're getting this high frequency, and you're able to see things, hear things. These all come as you level up your own sensory perception. So initially, it's always the feeling, that's the baseline. Yep. And then when you start to develop these skills and they become more and more clear to you, they will come in all different types of forms where you can see the spirits, hear the spirits, operate in that space comfortably. And that comes down to your limitations, your perception of your reality. Your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with. But we must start with the feeling.
Yes.
And so, going over and over and over and over and over and over and over this, it means nothing. So you can do an affirmation, and I would love you to do an affirmation. I would love you to do an incantation. I would love you to do a mantra. These are all things that have been reflected on ancient practices that you can rely on, from any sort of Eastern practice to Western practices, prayer, just speaking on things. That's why we talk about the spoken word. But it all comes back to a thought, feeling, and emotion. And that feeling is what's the validator. So you can go on and 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 on. If you're going, I am a good person, 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 I am a good person. Yet you
It's
still go into the backyard after you finish that affirmation and kick your dog. You can clearly see from your own confirmation that's not working, right? And so, again, when you're saying that, we lean on the scripture. When you act in virtue, you have none. Because when you're the universe, you're not asking yourself for this to be realized. You're not asking yourself. You're not having to go over and over again. The money, it's already there. You know it. It's a knowing. That's what the feeling is, a knowing, right? And so you level up on all different types of degrees of sensory perception. But know this: if you're doing something like an affirmation or a mantra or something of that nature, you will feel the charge,
yes.
and it's done and dusted. And that's why did you start on a micro level to a macro level? And so when you can validate something simple that you're comfortable with, that you don't have emotional content invested in, that is no different between manifesting a car space and manifesting $1 million in your bank account, or manifesting, the perfect partner or the perfect life or anything of that nature. It will be realized and rolled out. And so you want to develop your sensory perception. That's why we created the Way 126 in a second to none. And then, the architecture of healing Taoist rights is the new offering that we have for all people that want to level up as healers. And we want to get into the get down. And that's why you use the Infinite Wuji Body portal to get it started, because you're going to get a crash course in Harry Pottery. Yeah, baby. Because it's kind of like, you could be a complete novice and open that up and read the instruction. Always remember, at face value, be childlike in your nature. I reiterated, I reconfirmed it within this natural born life as one of the first things I did over 30 years ago, and poof, I was realized. That's how fast it happened for me. Because I just went, oh, the instructions say this. That's exactly what we want you to do with the Infinite Wuji Body, is read the instruction, follow it. And when you're drawing it out using your sword fingers, you're going to be like, holy crap. I mean, my eyes are open. I'm not in some lotus position, but I got a charge of energy when I'm doing this, because this has been around thousands of years.
Yes.
And you are riding the tidal wave that has been generated for thousands of years, from generation and for generation for generation for generation before you. Millions of people have used this stuff,
Right.
and you're now leveling up, and that's why you go, well, this is kind of like Harry Potter stuff. It's like, it's telling me to draw sword figures, draw this, draw that, do that, inhale this, inhale that. Holy crap! I feel like a plutonium dump site of energy, and I just had a massive realization, because this is what happens. A lot of people, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I love that analogy that you make of like surfing,
Right.
and waves, because it really is manifestation. You can parallel or take the concept of like the ocean. It's like waves. Waves are constantly happening all the time. Whether you want to go, hey, it's Monday at 10 a.m. and I'm going to go surfing today. I hope the waves are on. They're always on. You just have to go find the one you want, the highest one, the lowest one, the medium one, the one that you think you can be successful at, and surf it.
Right.
But they're always going on. The ocean doesn't stop. It doesn't, that frequency doesn't stop. The rippling of waves never stops. And you watch these incredible, you'll have these incredible moments where it's like, maybe you're just learning to surf. You catch a little wave, but that first time you catch it and you get that feeling of like, okay, my feet are placed here, my body's balanced here, I'm on my board at the right thing. This is it. I got it. And then you keep refining it. Okay, now I'm surfing a little bit of a bigger wave. Now I'm surfing a bigger wave. Now I'm surfing 100-foot wave, which I'm obsessed with. There are these waves in Portugal that are like over 100 feet tall. And you watch these people surf them and they're like breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking. But it is that frequency, that movement, that vibration of that manifestation is always there. You just have to go, where am I going to start? Where's my starting point? Where do I hit that first wave? Where do I get that validation? And then level up from there.
Right.
And it's all in the application.
Right. Right. And so, when we're doing all this stuff and you get that confirmation through this stuff, you have the epiphany moment. But know that that can be realized instantaneously. And so doing all the affirmations in the world are good and well. And, hey, look up affirmations, look up incantations, look up
Mantras.
mantras, you know, things of that nature where you're repeating over and over again, which is what a mantra is. And that's been around thousands of years. Listen, whatever it's necessary to convince yourself, right? But know that if you're convincing yourself and you're not convincing yourself because you're doing it because you're not convinced, do you see where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
So, you just keep going over and over and over and over and over, and you're like, okay, I did this for 3 days, and some people talk about, well, you can manifest anything in 3 days. I'm telling you, you can manifest anything in a fraction of a second, because I do it with physical healing all the time. So, and I do it with my reality. Whatever it is, it's created instantaneously. And so people put framework. You want to put a framework on yourself? You should be able to manifest anything in 3 days. Great. There's your foundation. That's what you do. You want to manifest anything in 2 days? There's your foundation. You want to manifest anything in 24 hours? There's your foundation. You want to manifest anything in 12 hours? That's your foundation. 3 hours. You know where I'm going with this. So it starts and ends with your perception. All in, all out. And so you get a taste, and you keep leveling up and leveling up and leveling up. And so all this stuff is part and parcel, the bigger picture. You use it.
You resonate with it.
Well, you cultivate it, mm-hmm. right? That's why the way 126 is so powerful. That's why, it has such a resonating effect with people, is because you're learning foundational stuff that you have for the rest of your life. Your neurology speaks to you. Your neurology will tell you that this is going on. And so your validation will be, whatever it is. I don't even think, I just do. You're not going to keep having a conversation with chanting something that, if you're the universe, you do it. You don't have to chant it for days and weeks and months on end. But the validation, the realization, the acceptance is that you are the universe, right? And that comes from the feeling. And why we always say the feeling is because all the stuff that we teach you that's integrated within, the Way 126 or any of the things that we share with you on this channel, it has already attuned you to that frequency. So you're not thinking about anything. If you're feeling whatever it is we're putting out, you're picking up what we're putting down, you're there. And so we've measured it, brainwaves, thousands of times. The brainwaves are very clear. You create a gamma frequency when you are exposed to this feeling, right? And so from just a neurological aspect, understanding what gamma frequency does is it's all-encompassing. It envelops the whole brain, meaning you're 100% conscious, having the ability to be creative, highly pliable, and switch and shift and change anything. So you're a highly suggestible, highly pliable, highly conscious, and that means that if you shift something and you say it to be so, it is imprinted in your unconscious as opposed to your conscious, because your conscious is developing all things. So we always talk about we're merging the conscious and unconscious, right? So what happens is when you do the whole 100% consciousness, you have open source to what you were not able to access, that critical faculty, that firewall of your mind that makes it very hard to get over that, where you're telling yourself what you want to hear. I'm a good person. I'm doing all this stuff. And then it doesn't materialize because there is the mechanism that is limiting you from everything from past generation to all this other stuff. But the fastest way to supertrack that is to envelop the whole brain, get that gamma frequency through the feeling, and you can alter and change the trajectory of your reality and what your operating system works on. That means you access all the code. Then you create new code and you put it in at will, and then boom. It's almost like you materialize and you're using a teleportation system to get into what you perceive as the unobtainable, which is a part of your consciousness that hasn't been realized, right? Once it's 100%, you take that teleportation moment, you get there, and then you put in the code however you want the code to be realized. Then you stop back out, you go play with your personality, come back, and that's now operating in the background all day, every day. And then all of a sudden, when you go, boom, manifestation, boom, healing, boom, magic, it's on. And it happens. And that's why we talk about the feeling. And then, sensory perception, leveling up, all the other skills will get you there. We'll get you to your wildest imagination, your Harry Potter on steroids. Anything you want can be materialized, and we will hand it to you as a skill, as a sensory perception skill that you have developed through the techniques and methods and cultivation practices that are tens of thousands of years old within Taoism. Booyah, it's all yours all day, every day.
Blammo.
Blammo. God, I love that guy, man. And we just had another little flashback to Take Me Home Tonight, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. And I think his name is Doug.
No, Dan Fogel, I think.
Dan Fogel. There you go. Look,
Or
if
I'm saying that wrong,
he's
I'm
your
sorry.
favorite comedian. You don't even know his name. I don't need to. That guy's energy just makes me crack up. I don't need to have like a realm of man crush worshipping of this guy. He brings it, and he just percolates my very essence, and I just laugh my ass off. And being in that joy, bliss, and happiness is infectious. It is absolutely mind-blowing, and that's where you should be, right? So, yeah, major level up, and he's so funny, man. You want to flashback if you're a fan of the 80s, or you're just a fan of comedy, watch Take Me Home Tonight. Man, that is the shiznit. It is super cool, man. But 80s are my bag, baby. I lived it in this natural born life, and I just keep living it. That's just like my Groundhog Day, all day, every day. It's like people are like, this is crazy. And, even back in, the 90s and 2000s, and even up to this day, I'd be playing the 80s music, and people are like, that is so passé. Stop burning my ears, making it painful. And now, of course, we're in the 2020s and up, and everyone's like, oh, it's so vogue to be in the 80s. I'm like, really? Really, dude? I never left. I am like right there immersed in the very character of Charlie Sheen from Wall Street, that complete excess and excessive sort of obsession that character portrayed as, really the definition of what the 80s were. It's like, okay, I'm Tony Montana. I'm a political prisoner, And so, you go from that, which is an iconic, piece of cinematic history, all the way up to that's a jump. Like, I think Scarface was 1982. We got like Wall Street, which is 1987, all reflective of this humanist realization within the world at the time of the powerhouse of America, how incredible and how polarizing it was to all these other ancient cultures. And they were just like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm steeped in this old ancient, which I live and die by, because that's who I am in this life and many lives before this. The ancient Eastern culture is my bag, baby. But from a reflection of just being in my personality and loving pop culture, and before it was completely shit on by celebrities having some sort of idea that they needed to tell the world what they think. Hey, look, all I want to do is reunited and it feels so good. If I'm looking at Breakfast Club, if I'm looking at Pretty in Pink, if I'm looking at 16 Candles, if I'm looking at Ferris Bueller's Day Off, if I'm looking at Weird Science, if you haven't seen any of those, then you have not lived the 80s, and you have not experienced the 80s, and shame on you if you don't know who John Hughes is. And I mean, that guy just encapsulated all these things, man. And so the decadence and the excess was so cool to watch, and it's completely okay. That's part of the human experience to witness this craziness, but it was part of history, and it's so enriched because America realized the pinnacle of their powerhouse realization with the world, and it was transmuted into something that was unique, that was not available in any other part of the world. And it came to the culture, it came to, this is a fresh new look at reality. It's almost like looking at physics, right?
I was gonna say,
it's almost
I
like the
think it's like,
language of
I
physics.
feel like
right?
America,
Like the language of physics
yeah,
was 300 or 400 years old. It's a new language. America was a new language for the world.
it was imagination.
Oh yeah,
It really was. I feel like, I mean, even just the phrase "the American dream."
right.
It isn't. It's whatever you can dream. It's your imagination, and these people all of a sudden are so attracted to it because it's like, you mean I can imagine to be whatever I want? I can come from another country and be a chef, or own my own restaurant, or create my own business, or sell widgets on the internet.
Right.
Like, it really is. It's the essence of imagination that we always get back to. You can create whatever you can imagine.
Yeah.
And these people would come here and they'd have these big, beautiful dreams and imaginations and be able to create it. And that feeling and experience and energy and vibration is, basically what created, this country, the amazing essence of the American dream.
Right.
I'd call it the American. I'd call it your imagination.
Right, right. And I mean, you can get caught up in the rhetoric, the identity politics, all the, I'm not interested in that. That's not my reality. I just like to reminisce over,
Yeah.
That decade was infused with this frequency that was real cool, man. I loved it. I've got so many reflectance. Lost Boys, man. Come on. Lost. Who hasn't seen Lost Boys? Really? I mean, that was a moment in time. I was devastated. Let me tell you. When I finally actually went to the location of where this was filmed, and it looked like, a bunch of homeless people have rolled up and invaded the space, my heart was broken. I was subject to the Hollywood dream being destroyed. And you do this with a lot of these locations, but I'm a fanboy of pop culture. I can do that. If I'm in the mood, I'll muster up and manifest an interaction with a celebrity. No problems. I mean, I could go through hundreds of events where I've manifested interactions with celebrities, but let me just say one. Right. So back in the day, it was early 2000s, and I was in Vegas of all places, the Venetian, and generally speaking, when I go to a spot, I'll just be like, yeah, I want to see a celebrity, and I'll just put the magic out there, boof, and I was like, did a little bit more than that. Well, not really. That was the same magic I put out. So I turn up to this gym, I think Canyon Ranch, whatever, and I walk into the gym, and I'm getting my workout in, and as I walk into the gym on the left-hand side, there looks like it looked like a little boy sort of sitting at a lat pull-down machine. If you don't know what a lat pull-down machine is, it's like this cable pull-down. And these two big monsters, they look like frickin' like giants on each side of this guy. And I'm like, holy crap, this has got to be somebody, It just seems really strange that, it's like, some sort of like a royal family or what, who knows. This kid is being escorted by these two gorillas. These guys are massive, right? And I'm thinking, that's weird. It's just a weird thing because it looked like a little boy, but then you could see it was a man. It's kind of like this double take when I was having a reverse hallucination. What is it? And I look closer. I'm like, holy crap. This is Eminem. I'm like, whoa, what are the chances of this? Oh, that's right. I forgot. I already custom magic. I want to check. I want to catch a couple of celebrities. So I was down here. Boom, right in the gym. So, back in the day, I looked a little bit more formative and flexing a little bit on the muscular side. So I was someone that when I walked into the gym, most people were like, "Oh, that guy's a bodybuilder, powerlifter, whatever." So I sort of ended up, before you know it, part of the magic and manifesting your reality. I'm giving this guy a 30-minute leg workout. Yeah, it was epic. There's no question about it. So I'm teaching Eminem how to leg press, and then you've got his, security in the background going, "Come on, man. I mean, I just ordered a bunch of 2 bags of fries and a hamburger up to the room. Can we go, man? I'm hungry." And like these guys, seriously, you take a look at them. If they didn't eat for like 2 years, they'd still be
Giants.
like giants. So, I took this guy through a leg workout. It was epic, definitely one of a kind. And what I want to tell people to the world, my personal experience with Eminem, what an incredible guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that reflective of his worldview and how he believes in things today? I have no idea. I'm not even going to speak on that. I'm talking about my personal interaction with this guy. And humility was one of the big things that I really appreciated about this guy. Humility and then appreciation. And he valued my insight. He valued my direction. And then he also valued me just giving him a compliment as a fan. And it's like, whoa, bro. You see how people lose sight of where they come from, right? And so many of people have gone through this cycle of losing sight of that, and then that kind of creates this delusion. And you the bigger you are, the harder you fall expression is kind of where a lot of these celebrities go. They get a frequency, they obtain that frequency, they express it, it's generated in their reality, and then they're not able to hold that frequency because they get so distorted with understanding how they got there. And this has everything to do with manifestation, magic, healing, same thing. And so it's like the bigger they are, the harder they fall. The old expression, falling from grace, or however you want to describe it. A lot of the celebrities, they express into the field, they create a big bang, and then they disappear. And so he had this humility about him that was really refreshing and beautiful to see. And with that, it's a reflected on him, 20, 25 years later, still being, relevant, still having a worldwide
career,
all
icon.
these, all these things were expressions of, this guy's perception.
Mm-hmm.
And probably a spiritual guy from what I can see. He's definitely big on God and whatnot. A lot of these things, this differentiator. But again, this is a part of manifestation. This is kind of like, don't ask Sifu about the 80s and celebrities and you won't hear the stories. Hey, what can I tell you? I got hundreds of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a great example.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, same thing. You need to realize you level up, you permeate yourself at a cellular level that puts you in that frequency that you can access instantaneously. Just recently, I was talking to someone about channeling, and they're like, "Well, how did you know? And you discovered you were able to channel." It was a interesting hit, and I've spoken on this briefly before, but I was exposed to it, just the fundamentals, and I instantly opened the door, and Latsu turned up that second, and has been with me consciously for 30 years, and all the teachers that I have within Taoism. And like when you channel, you will be blown with what you generate on a frequency level. And that's why people, like, if they get in a room with me, whether it's virtually or in a physical room, they're like, man, I'm starting to get really kind of hot under the collar. What's going on here? The frequency's higher. That's what I'm transmitting. And that's generally Lao-Tzu or the Tao or one of my teachers. And that's where you'll feel that, and it will transfer as a physicality, some type of physiological response that you're having that you have not experienced before. And that's why it transmutes into that. And as you level up your sensory perception, it will continue to alter, right?
Right.
So, be all or end all. Understand this, know this to be true. There is no right or wrong way to get where you need to go when it comes to manifestation, magic, and healing. But we have a path that has been carved out over tens of thousands of years with millions of people, and it's sound tested and proven. You just apply it to your reality, and you will be realized. Your reality and everything you could ever imagine in your wildest dreams will become real. But it comes down to that feeling,
Yep.
right? So always remember that. Know your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with. And then by validating that and by the feeling, that's all you need to work on. Nothing else. All this other stuff is kind of gobbledygook. Don't be concerned by, turning on the internet and having, 5,000 people. And you should know this intuitively. If you've got if you're constantly chasing after another system, stop. Because you're going to it's like dispersing your energy. When you master Qigong and Qigong, the stuff we teach, you can distribute your energy equally anywhere within consciousness at the same amplitude. It doesn't matter. The same amplitude equally. You're not excessive or deficient. It's kind of like if you're looking at something, right, your focus is on one point. When you master Qigong, you can focus your one point on a million things and have them all realized at the same time with the same amplitude, the same energy, the same frequency, second to none. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
And so realize that that's a progression, and it can be realized instantaneously or it could be progressive, and that's why we have the tools that we have for you guys to get there.
Yeah. And take that information and be able to apply it.
Right.
This isn't just information.
Right.
This is application.
Right.
And that's what we harp on more than anything.
Right.
That feeling, that knowing, that frequency. It's the application of it, less the information of it. You know what I mean? Whereas people search for this information and search and search and search and search and search and they have it, but they never actually feel it.
Right. And that's where anything you pick up of ours, and the internal infinite Wuji body will be released worldwide next week, and people are going to spend a pretty penny on that, but it's very much worth it. $360 to have your whole energetics realized, which is your baseline for all things.
Right.
Dude, you supercharge. You want a Kundalini experience and have it polarized with the Wuji body. If you've done any of those altering sort of like external stuff, trust me, you do the Wuji body and you're going to go, what was I doing? I just spent like 10 grand on DMT, and I spent a 1/100th of the price on a Wuji body that is now mine forever. And because once you turn that on, there's no turning it off. The old expression, once you've seen it, you cannot unsee it.
Yeah.
And when you do that, all bets are off, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. So, I think we've gone over a lot today.
Yeah.
I think that reiterating this is really important for
is.
people to understand it, and that, there's no right or wrong way. The only way is your way. That's why we call it the way. Your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with, and understand that. But if you're using some of these other avenues, if you're doing it for 6 months, it's because you've said it's going to take you 6 months. If you're chanting for hours on end, that's because you've created that parameter and that realization. If you want it to happen in the next second, it'll happen. If you want it to happen in the next day, it'll happen. If you want it to happen in the next month, it will happen. It's to you. Let's get this going. So, with that, we'll just close things out today, just with, the attunement that comes with, just respiration. Qigong is a fundamental of what we teach here. And, it's so strange. I came across some guy that was teaching Taoist, practices. And my personality is like, this is why people don't, first and foremost, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, see, that sounds like you're saying something disparaging about someone else. That's my personality. And that's the part where people get turned off to things. And this guy goes, anything that is created to a point where you can't experience it and show me, and it's all this in your head conceptual stuff, which we separate thoughts, meaning if you're thinking, you're not knowing. If you're knowing, you're feeling. End of story. So, when you got this person sitting there, and it's got to be this degree and this degree and that degree and this degree and that, this comes back to psychic, medium, channel. It's all of the above, and they're different frequencies, and that's your perception. What happens on the other side? I'll share with you all the things that I see, all I experience, spirits, energy, frequencies. Only you will be validated by your physical body going, when he said the sun, it came in, oh my goodness, I felt it through my whole body. That's how it works. That's all I'm going to say. And again, your imagination will determine how that is materialized, beginning and end. Mm-hmm. So don't be, they told me it has to happen this way, and my consciousness is manipulating it, and it's not happening, because you can make it happen any way you want. We give you foundation, and then you validate. You go, okay, well, that's working for me because I'm feeling that. So, yeah, it's real to me. And I'm going to ride the wave of 10 million people before me. Hell yeah. Well, it's like when, think about it. Your guides bring you to this point. You're listening to Jade and I. And the bottom line is this is like a moment where Granddad's sitting down with his grandson who's 4 years old. He's like, you know what? If you can take away anything that I tell you, Roger, and you use this right now, you're going to save yourself a lot of pain and heartache. You've heard this little pep talk from generation to generation to generation over and over again. You hear someone who's like, I've got the wisdom. I want to save you the pain and suffering. And in some cases, I would say that I always argue the fact that time on this earth does not equal wisdom, i.e., look at the powers to be that run this country. Anyway, let's leave it at that. But know this to be true, that when we talk about time on this earth does not equal wisdom, you can actually realize instant consciousness, meaning instant information from the feeling. So there is that understanding of, hey, Roger, if you do this, you're going to save yourself a lot. And of course, what happens is 20 years later, Roger has an epiphany. He's like, Granddad sat me down and he told me if I didn't do this, that this wouldn't happen. And I was like, I'm curious. I'm really curious. And of course, after the fourth time that I made that, what I've considered or realized as a mistake, because it was a mistake because I was coming from a duality, now I understand what Granddad was talking about. So you can create whatever you want. Your reality is whatever you want. It's hard, it's easy, it's indifferent, it's all up to you. You're in a duality, you're at one with all things. Your consciousness, you're 5D, you're 3D. It's completely up to you. Your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with. I know this. I resonate to high frequency, and it's like what happens with high frequency, path of least resistance, because you're not against the grain. That's what the flow is. Wu Wei, effortless action is not. It's about effortless effort. It's about doing nothing and creating all things. That comes back to the scripture. When you let the man know who's never left his village, let him know he's seen the world. Booyah. So when you use these, understand that. It can be realized like, boom, now. And it will happen. You'll have that epiphany. It could be like in the next second. It could have been last week for someone who's been watching the channel for a long time. It could have been 2 months ago. It could be next week for someone else going, whoa, I just got what Sifu and Jade have been telling me. Holy moly. I just had a blammo moment. And that's all it takes, right? So in closing, before we just do a quick respiration, just to tune you guys up like your little Christmas tree amber lights that you are, you little manifestors you. In closing, my divine, delectable co-host, even though I might have seemed like I was possibly sampling Bolivian marching powder from the 80s. I don't know what. I'm hyper. I'm I'm kind of excited. I'm very supercharged because this excites me. I love to share. I love to enrich. I love to expand someone to a high level of consciousness. And with that, I possibly have sucked a lot of the oxygen out of the room, especially from my beautiful, divine, delectable co-host that is like that. Have you ever seen that movie, Austin Powers, where Dr. Evil, and he's got his son there, and his son's like, but I wanted that, but I did, but it did, but I did, oh, kind of like that. But anyway, I will digress, silent, calm, equalize, and I just want to listen to this beautiful being. One more thing. No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, I forgive you. You're young.
Yeah, forgive me, I am young. Arthur.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, everything is such valuable information and important and has its own place. And it's nothing that we haven't already said in many different ways before. And hopefully it resonates with you now, or maybe in a week or last week, or whenever you're ready to resonate with it, because it will. That frequency is always there. And anytime you come to our channel, you are being a part of it instantly. And, even if you're just like, I watch you guys for the first time and this is kind of weird. I feel so connected. It's like,
we get a lot of that.
Yeah, we get a lot of that. And it is every time you come in and you hear us and we talk and you watch us on social media, you are a part of this frequency that we're creating. And you are just being here. You are feeling that, experiencing that, resonating with that.
Amen. And so in closing, why don't we just do a quick breath in and breath out? In through the nose, out through the mouth. We're going to breathe in upper, middle, lower dantian 3 times. On the last breath of the lower dantian, you're going to hold it. I'm going to count it down to 9, and then it'll be realized you manifesting highlighted Christmas decoration amber of whatever you want to realize. But that energy is already percolating. I'm already juiced up. Booyah. And we're just going to ramp it up a little bit more. So without any further
Let's
ado.
do it.
So a breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Last one, breath in. Breath out. Hold it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. And with that, as you notice, your breath is amplifying the very sensory perception you just created. All things are known, all things are realized instantaneously. Anyone that can hear me from a distance or is a little bit more present, understand this, let this percolate, let this biological upgrade that you have realized, let it take its course, and it will determine the length and the depth of its realization as you move through this moment, move through this time, move through this day. And it could stop in the next 5 seconds. It could stop in the next 5 hours. Let it be. And with that, I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master Sun Quinn, and I will see you on the next one, guys.